If you spend enough time in the deep wilderness, you'll see things that the human mind isn't designed to process. You'll see trees that grow in circles, rivers that flow uphill for a few seconds, and shadows that don't match the things casting them. But there is one thing every veteran search and rescue officer knows to avoid. It's the unwritten rule of the forest: if you find a staircase in the middle of nowhere, do not touch it. Do not climb it. Do not even look at it for too long. My name is Noah. I've been with the SAR unit in the Pacific Northwest for 12 years. I've found hikers stuck in crevices and campers lost in caves. But I never believed the stories about the staircases until last October. We were looking for a 6-year-old boy named Oliver. He had vanished from his parents' campsite near the Goat Rocks wilderness. We had 80 men on the ground, dogs, and thermal imaging. 3 days in, we found nothing. No footprints, no torn clothing. It was like he had been lifted straight off the earth. On the 4th day, I was scouting a sector that was supposedly untouched by trails. The brush was so thick I had to use a machete. Then, the forest suddenly cleared into a perfect, mossy circle. In the center of that circle sat a staircase. It wasn't attached to a house. There were no ruins, no foundations, no signs of a fire. It was just 10 steps of pristine, white cinder block, with a mahogany handrail that looked like it had been polished that morning. It looked completely out of place, like it had been cut out of a luxury hotel and pasted into the dirt. The air around the stairs felt heavy. It was vibrating. My radio started emitting a high-pitched whine that made my ears bleed. I should have turned around. I should have called for backup. But then I saw it. At the very top step, sitting perfectly still, was a red sneaker. Oliver's sneaker. Oliver! I shouted. The forest didn't echo. It felt like the trees were leaning in, listening. I approached the base of the stairs. My boots hit the first step, and the world changed. The temperature dropped 20 degrees instantly. The smell of the forest, pine and damp earth, was replaced by the smell of ozone and old, stagnant hospital air. I climbed the second step. The sound of the wind died. Total silence. By the 5th step, I looked back. The forest was gone. I wasn't in the Pacific Northwest anymore. I was looking down at a vast, gray ocean of clouds that stretched forever. The stairs weren't sitting on the ground, they were floating in a void of endless white. Noah, help me. The voice came from the top. Oliver was there, but he wasn't 6 anymore. He looked like an old man, his skin wrinkled like parchment, his hair white and thin. But his eyes, they were still the eyes of that terrified little boy. He was reaching out to me, his hand trembling. Don't reach the top, he whispered. The stairs don't go up. They go out. I reached the 8th step. My heart was thumping against my ribs so hard I thought I'd have a stroke. I realized then that the stairs weren't a physical object. They were a lure. Like the light of an anglerfish in the deep sea. They were meant to draw in the curious, the brave, and the desperate. Suddenly, the mahogany handrail moved. It wasn't wood. It was cold, hard skin. It wrapped around my wrist like a snake. I looked down and saw that the cinder blocks were shifting, turning into rows of giant, rectangular teeth. I didn't climb the 9th step. I threw myself backward, screaming. I tumbled down the stairs, hitting the mossy ground of the Real forest with a bone-shattering thud. I scrambled to my feet, my wrist bruised and bleeding where the wood had grabbed me. I looked back at the center of the clearing. The stairs were gone. There was no Oliver. No red sneaker. Just a patch of dead, gray grass where the structure had been. I ran. I didn't stop until I found the main trail. When I got back to base camp, I was told the search was over. Oliver had been found 2 miles away in a hollow log. He was fine, but he couldn't remember anything after he stepped on the white stone. I checked my watch. I had only been in that clearing for 5 minutes. But when I looked in the mirror at the ranger station, I saw a streak of white hair at my temple that wasn't there before. And my wrist, the bruise wasn't a normal bruise. It was the clear, distinct mark of a human hand with 6 fingers. I resigned the next day. I don't go into the woods anymore. I don't even like going into buildings with more than 1 floor. Because I know that the world we see is just a thin veil. And underneath that veil, there are things waiting for us to take that first step. The Forest Service knows. They've known for decades. That's why they never mention the stairs in the official reports. They seal the files. They tell the rangers to ignore the anomalies. Because if the public knew that our national parks were full of doorways to nowhere, no one would ever go back. If you're ever hiking and you see a staircase where it shouldn't be, if it looks too clean, too new, or too inviting, turn around. Don't look at it. And for the love of God, don't climb it. Because the things that live at the top have been waiting a very long time for someone new to join them. Have you ever seen a structure in the woods that made your skin crawl? A door with no house, or a staircase with no roof? Tell me in the comments. We need to document these before they move again. Subscribe to the Midnight Files. Stay on the ground. And never, ever take the first step.